I'm especially anti-law enforcement because law enforcement does underhanded fucking shit like what Daniel Cameron has done in Kentucky. So he was on Fox News the other morning. I think it was on Fox and Friends. So let's see what this dumbass has to say.
Sam Ellinger in number 22, Texas. And here we go.
Boo. I'm amazed they're still having college football at the moment. I doubt they're going to be able to get through the whole season.
Attorneys for Breonna Taylor's family calling for a new special prosecutor to reopen the case, while slamming the Kentucky Attorney General for not pressing murder charges against the 3 officers involved. The attorneys writing in an open letter, quote, "You were biased throughout the process and intentionally deprived justice."
We have shown that. We have shown that night after night after night.
Attorney General Daniel Cameron joins us right now to respond. General, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you for having me.
Are you surprised that the family is calling for a special prosecutor in this case?
Well, look, let me just say that in this case, I was the special prosecutor, but this is the
That's true.
model. He goes into a city, creates a narrative, cherry picks facts to establish, to prove that narrative, creates chaos in a community, misrepresents the facts, and then he leaves with his money. And then
He's describing exactly what he did. Now, who he's talking about is one of the lawyers for the family. He's trying to put the blame on everybody but himself.
and then ask the community to pick up the pieces. It is terribly irresponsible on his part to push such narratives, such falsehoods. As the Attorney General, I don't have the luxury of falsehoods. I have the responsibility to the truth, the law, and justice. Ben Crump can make wild accusations and ask for ridiculous things, but at the end of the day, we have dispensed with our responsibility and duty to present the information to the grand jury. We did that in a manner consistent with what the facts and the law are. That's, again, my responsibility as the Attorney General of the Commonwealth
Now,
of Kentucky.
he filed the proceedings today to try to keep...
Looked in at what happened that night. It looks
He filed a motion today to try to keep that grand jury proceeding secret.
that only one officer would be charged with anything, and that detective pleaded not guilty last week to the only charge, which was wanton endangerment.
It was just for shooting bullets into the neighbors' apartments.
Get that. At the end of the day, officers were trying to execute a warrant at Miss Taylor's residence. Her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, fired a shot.
Yeah, let's talk about that warrant, shall we? The detective who issued the warrant was recommended to be reviewed for criminal charges. Investigators suggested the detective who obtained the Breonna Taylor warrant should be reviewed for criminal action.
For parents to feel comfortable.
No one disputes that this is a tragedy, but sometimes our criminal justice system, our criminal law, is inadequate to respond to a tragedy. That is the case here. Again, my heart goes out to Breonna Taylor's family, Miss Palmer, all those.
No, it's just you. You want to cover up malfeasance on the part of the cops.
Certainly be everyone's sentiment. The other officer that was at the scene, who was firing into the house, he, in our judgment,
Is a fall guy.
indicted. That was what was recommended to the grand jury, and the grand jury made that decision. And we obviously have to continue prosecuting that case. The other thing I'll make sure that the viewers know is that the department or the FBI continues an investigation into the civil rights matters in this particular case, and we continue to be a partner.
Well, let's fucking hope.
Investigation as well.
Right.
Because you dropped the ball in your investigation.
What do you say to the people who continue to protest the decisions made in this case, and to the people who have done some rioting as well?
Well, look, I've stood up for peaceful protests since the beginning. You recognize that people will criticize decisions that are made. But at the end of the day, my responsibility is to the truth and to the law.
Apparently not, because we want the truth to come out and you want to keep it secret.
And then just cherry pick facts to reach that conclusion. I don't have that luxury. My luxury is to make sure that all 120 counties in the Commonwealth of Kentucky are represented in this office, that the facts are gathered and that they are presented to the grand jury, which is what we did in this case. Look, again, at the end of the day, people, because they established a narrative before.
Now remember, the grand jury, one of the jurors has come out and said, I want to be able to speak because he's not being truthful. And he has the audacity to get on Fox News and say this.
Drawing the facts are going to be upset, but I think most people recognize, because of the facts that have come out in this case, all of the facts that have come out, that the officers were justified in returning fire. Again, the tragedy is that Miss Taylor was hit in that return fire. But again, the responsibility of the Attorney General is to provide the information and the fact.
Not the tragedy that they lied to obtain a warrant. Not the tragedy that the cops were clearly inept. We watched the Vice documentary, which proved it. The other SWAT team that arrived on the scene thought the cops were inept. And he has the audacity to get on TV and say this shit. When we know the facts, we can look at it.
And give that to the grand jury for ultimately them to make the decision.
Well, it certainly was a tragedy.
They say they weren't given the option to make a decision on the other charges.
Was depicted on Saturday Night Live this past weekend, and during a musical performance, the singer mentioned you as well. We're going to play this and then get your reaction. Watch.
Oh, they got it?
Cameron is no different than the sellout Negroes that sold our people into slavery by savages.
We need to protect our black women and love our black women. Because at the end of the day, we need our black women.
Attorney General?
Well, let me just say I agree that we need to love and protect our black women. There's no question about that. But the fact that someone would get on national...
Put your money where your mouth is, bitch.
...disparaging comments about me because I'm simply trying to do my job is disgusting. But it's not the first time we see this, and it certainly won't be the last time we see this. At the end of the day, my responsibility is to provide facts and truth and represent and stand up for justice. I think what you saw there in that display is someone who instead wants to fashion facts to a narrative. That narrative is simply not true in this particular case with Miss Taylor.
Seriously, what other explanation is there other than projection?
Something that I've had to experience because I'm a black
They
Republican.
live in a fantasy world of cognitive dissonance, and they project,
Giving into a mob mentality.
accuse the other side of what you are guilty of. Literal Nazi fucking tactic.
Those are sorts of things that I've heard when I was in college. Again, because I identify with a different political philosophy, and therefore that shapes.
But of course, he's the victim. That's what he's got to turn it around to. He's the victim in all of this. Because he's a Republican, everybody is out to get him.
The type of intolerance that people...
And people are intolerant to him not upholding the fucking law and lying to the American people on national TV. He's a victim because we don't tolerate that bullshit.
Because I've decided to stand up for truth and justice. But what I will tell you is there are a lot of folks that look like me that aren't scared anymore, that are tired of the...
I'm not tolerant of you because you trample on truth and justice while saying you stand for it, bitch.
We're going to continue to stand up and stand up for truth and justice in this job and in everything else that we do in this country.
Well, sir, we've had lots of questions for you over the last couple of weeks. We thank you very much for dropping by Fox and Friends. Attorney General for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Daniel Cameron. Sir, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Says he stands for truth. Filed a motion today to make sure that, one, the last little piece of evidence from the grand jury is kept secret. What he actually recommended to them for charges. And that the jurors can't speak on their own. If he has nothing to hide, if he stands for the truth, why would he file that motion?